They thought it was a cargo ship, big, slow, and ripe for the taking. Two skiffs packed with armed Somali pirates cut through the waves at full throttle, engines screaming across the dark waters of the Gulf of Aden. Their target, a massive silhouette on the horizon. No flag, no lights, just steel and silence. In pirate logic, that usually means unescorted freight wrong. In less than 90 seconds, that silhouette revealed itself for what it really was, a floating war fortress. Not just a U.S. Navy ship, but a full-blown nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. You know, the kind that launches warplane A's before breakfast and carries more firepower than most countries. The pirates, they had AKs and RPGs. The carrier, it had 5,000 sailors, Sea Whiz cannons, radar-guided missile systems, and a zero-patience policy for threats. What happened next wasn't a standoff. It wasn't even a fight. It was a lesson. One that started with a warning and ended with weapons drawn in pirates face down on a rigid hull inflatable boat, or RHIB. Because this is what happens when you pick the wrong ship. This is what happens when you try to hit a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. And this was a big mistake. The radar picked them up first. Two fast-moving blips, low signature, no AIS signal, approaching at high speed. Inside the Combat Information Center CIC of the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, the screens lit up. An operator called it out without hesitation. Contacts. Two small craft, bearing 085, closing. In the Red Sea, that could only mean one thing: trouble. The officer on deck didn't need a second opinion. He leaned into comms. Bridge, CIC, notify flight deck. Launch Seahawk now. Outside, the carrier was already in motion. This wasn't a lazy merchant vessel. This was a strike group on high alert, and the Eisenhower was its brain. Within 2 minutes, an MH-60R Seahawk was airborne. Its rotors roaring, its crew armed, its radar systems live, and its gunner ready. It launched straight into the sky, heading toward the unknown. Back on deck, everyone moved in synchronized urgency. Yellow shirts cleared space, red shirts secured weapons loads, green shirts waved clearance for another bird on standby. In CIC, another alert: skiffs are splitting. One's pulling off, the other is heading straight for us. Classic pirate tactic. Split, confuse, divide attention. The captain's reply was razor sharp. Maintain course. Let them commit. The Seahawk closed the distance, scanning, observing. Then the pilot confirmed it. Hostile posture. He repeated, visible armament. That was enough. Most pirate incidents get warnings. This one crossed the line. Another Seahawk was launched. Meanwhile, aboard the destroyer USS Gravely, VBSS teams were already strapping on gear. M4s, flashbangs, body armor. These weren't diplomats, these were naval SWAT with orders to move fast and hit hard. On deck, the CRAM turrets spun silently. Their radars locked onto the skiff like hawks eyeing prey. The Gravely maneuvered for flanking. It was like watching a chess match at 35 knots. The pirates had no idea what they were facing. They probably still thought they were chasing a cargo ship. They were wrong. At 800 yards, the Seahawk dropped low. The side gunner rotated the M240 into position. No rounds fired yet, just posture. The message was clear. You're in the wrong neighborhood. The pirates didn't back off. One of them stood up, brandishing something long and metallic. RPG. That sealed it. Hostile confirmed. Weapons in hand, continuing intercept, the Seahawk reported. The captain didn't hesitate. From the destroyer, two 11-meter RHIBs splashed into the sea, each carrying a full VBSS team. The carrier didn't need to fire a shot. That's what the task force was for, but if things escalated, the firepower was ready. Onboard turrets tracked silently. The Seahawk hovered with eyes locked. This was a well-rehearsed dance. The gunner gave one final visual warning. He fired a short burst across the bow of the lead skiff. Water exploded just feet from their hull. That did it. The pirates flinched. Too late. The RHIBs cut across the waves, engines screaming, boxed the skiff in from both sides. "Lay down your weapons, hands up, do it now," came the command over loudspeakers. Confusion erupted. One pirate tossed his AK into the sea, another froze. The ones who didn't comply were handled quickly. Within 30 seconds, it was over. Weapons confiscated, pirates zip-tied, subdued, and placed on the RHIB's deck. The skiff was towed. The scene was secured. The Eisenhower didn't even slow down. Because aircraft carriers don't flinch. They don't waste firepower. They let their entourage handle it. And the pirates, well, they finally realized it. They hadn't just picked the wrong ship. They picked the wrong ocean. As they lay on the deck, wrists bound, boots standing over them, they were just starting to understand. But the Navy wasn't done. When you take a shot at a U.S. carrier, even a dumb one, they don't just neutralize you. They document everything. They investigate, catalog, trace signals, photograph gear, analyze hulls, because today's pirates with RPGs could be tomorrow's smuggling crew for something worse. So while VBSS hauled suspects aboard the Gravely, a second Seahawk was already flying perimeter, scanning heat signatures, scanning markings, intercepting comms. They checked the skiff for GPS systems, encrypted radios, and military-grade tech. Turns out, it wasn't just a ragtag crew, it was a test. Back on the Eisenhower, nothing changed. Jets kept launching from catapults. Super Hornets soared into the sky. Deck crews didn't even blink. The mission never paused. That's the nature of a carrier. It keeps moving while the rest of the world reacts. Because this isn't just a warship, it's a mobile fortress with a nuclear engine and more computing power than most countries. The pirates, meanwhile, still thought they hit a freighter. Right until a U.S. Marine leaned in and asked, "You know you pulled up on an aircraft carrier, right?" Silence. One muttered something. Unofficial translation? Big mistake. So let's be clear. Why is a U.S. aircraft carrier the worst target on the planet? Because attacking one is like bringing a butter knife to a tank fight. Except the tank is nuclear-powered, launches jets every 30 seconds, and has its own zip code. A carrier is never alone. It sails with a full strike group. Destroyers, cruisers, submarines, resupply ships, and a sky filled with fighter jets. It's a floating war city. Take the Eisenhower. Over 1,000 feet long, nearly 5,000 crew, launching FA-18s faster than some airports handle taxis. Below deck are hangars, radar rooms, intelligence centers, and its own internal security teams. You don't sneak up on a carrier. You get flagged, tracked, and targeted before your engine even warms up. Weapons? It's packed. CRAM, CIWS, ESSMs, anti-missile, anti-air, anti-anything. Seahawks with thermal scopes, growlers for electronic jamming, Hawkeyes for airborne radar. They didn't even use 10% of what was on board. They didn't need to. This threat wasn't worth it, but they still documented everything. That RPG, bagged and tagged, sat phone, deconstructed and analyzed, every frequency logged. Seahawk flight data matched against smuggling routes. And then it happened. One odd radio burst matched chatter from an intercepted arms shipment near Eritrea. Now it wasn't just piracy, it was a probe, a test run for something bigger. The Navy moved fast. Within 12 hours, the data hit CENTCOM, AFRICOM, coalition partners, and intelligence centers from Bahrain to Djibouti. Because next time it might not be pirates, it might be drones, or man-portable air defense systems, or something worse. Every incident is a thread, and the Navy pulls it all the way. Oh, and remember that second skiff? The one that veered off early? It didn't get away. A drone picked it up 6 nautical miles out, drifting beside a fishing boat that looked too clean. A RHIB from the USS Mason moved in. 2 more pirates detained, 1 laptop seized, and a list of questions someone would answer under classified lights. What started as a sloppy ambush had triggered a full-scale intel sweep. Satellite repositioned, suspicious comms flagged, sea lanes held their breath. Because when you try to mess with a U.S. carrier, the Navy doesn't post warnings. They make examples. And the ocean? The ocean remembers. It gets quiet. Pirate chatter dries up. Radio signals go dark. And for a while, everyone thinks twice. Because the Navy doesn't just stop threats, they broadcast a message. We saw you, we stopped you, we learned from you, and next time, you won't get the chance. In the end, this was more than just an intercepted pirate attack. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that even in the age of satellites and stealth bombers, threats can still come riding on the waves. But here's the difference. When that threat knocks on the door of a U.S. aircraft carrier, it's not met with fear. It's met with precision, speed, and overwhelming force. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower didn't just defend itself, it turned a skirmish into an intelligence goldmine, a message broadcast across the globe in silence and steel. Because in every corner of the world, there's someone watching, testing boundaries, probing defenses, waiting for a crack. But what they fail to understand is that carriers like the Eisenhower aren't just ships. They're mobile fortresses, floating symbols of dominance backed by satellites, submarines, destroyers, and an entire defense network that never sleeps. And when the storm comes, they don't brace for impact. They sail straight through it and leave nothing but silence in their wake. So the next time a pirate crew, a rogue militia, or a hostile regime thinks about poking the lion, they'd do well to remember this day. A skiff versus a supercarrier? That's not a fight. It's a warning shot to the world. The sea may be vast, but the U.S. Navy sees everything. And if you test them, they'll respond faster than you can blink. Thanks for watching. If you found this video intense, eye-opening, or just plain badass, hit that like button to support the channel. Drop a comment below. What do you think was the biggest mistake the pirates made that day? And if you're fascinated by modern military power, strategic operations, and the hidden wars playing out across the globe, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're just getting started.